Hi, this is Philip Mason with Incredible Fathers. Excited to be with you here today and just thankful to spend a few moments with you. It's been a really hot day. We're up to 100 degrees today, and I just wanted to share a few thoughts here as the day's starting to cool off just a little bit. I love marriage. I think marriage is so incredibly important, and I'm a big believer in a Christ-like marriage. What I mean by that, in the Bible, Christ talks about what God has joined together, don't separate or divide, but you have two flesh coming together, and they being twain make one under a covenant with God. So a marriage covenant is super important, and when we get married, we treat it as a covenant, which is different contractual relationship, which is how much of the world treats their marriages today. So under contract law, two parties get together, and if any one party doesn't fulfill their obligation, then they split and they're out, and the contract gives them an out on that. And unfortunately, that's the way a lot of people handle marriage today. But I believe in a godlike marriage, a Christ-like marriage, and that requires a covenant, which is a much deeper commitment. And in that commitment, couples are willing to work out issues, work out problems, and to be able to solve them when they arise. And so I hate divorce. I want to throw it out. I don't even think it should belong in our vocabulary. I don't think it should even cross your minds. Now, I know, just like everybody else knows, that there are exceptions to the rule, and there are situations when people violate their contract or their covenants to such an extent that it just makes it totally impossible for you to even be around that person. And I recognize that those situations exist, but far and away, with very few exceptions, divorce should never be an option. And I believe that as married couples, we should do everything in our power to make marriage work and to involve God in our lives and to do what He wants us to do to change and to become better people so that our marriage is stronger and more meaningful and more powerful. I really truly believe this, and my hope for each of you is that you will do whatever it takes to be committed to your spouse and to God in that process. And think of it as a triangle, the three of you together with God and your spouse and yourself make that triangle. And when there's a relationship, a covenant relationship between all three of those, that's when success begins to happen. And when you view yourself that way and you're prayerful with God and you commit to having a marriage that's truly a covenant relationship, the option of divorce goes out the window. It's no longer an option for you. And I truly believe that. And I've experienced a lot of success in my marriage, and I know that it's because of that undying commitment. I know my wife's committed to me. I know that I'm committed to my wife, and I know that God's committed to both of us in making our marriage work. And I'm a believer in eternal marriage. So what that means is that I believe that marriage will last not just until death, but beyond that into the life to come. And so that makes my marriage so much more important because I want to preserve it so it continues on in the next life. Because when you really truly love someone, living in this life together is really not enough. You want that to continue on. Those relationships keep getting sweeter and sweeter and more choice and more wonderful. And that's really my desire for all of you, is to have that same experience, that same type of covenant marriage relationship with you and your spouse and with God, the three of you together in that covenant relationship. So take this, think it over, think about how your marriage is going, think about if God's involved in your marriage or not, and how He might be able to be more fully involved in your marriage covenant. And I leave these thoughts with you. This is Philip Mason with Incredible Fathers, and signing off for now.